5 p.m. Welcome to Hot Edition Live on 3FM 92.7. We are streaming live on all our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube on 3FM 92.7. Tonight, manganese haulage and discharge operations at the Takoradi Port Anchorage temporarily suspended as investigations begin into a fatal incident that claimed 2 lives. Also, Wager Children's Hospital contractor Aweko Construction Limited denies inflating equipment prices and demands a retraction and apology from the Health Ministry. Also in this package, New Patriotic Party constitutes its standing and sector committees as it intensifies reorganization efforts ahead of the 2028 elections. I'm Bernice Abubeidulansa. Details in a moment. Thanks for your company. The details now. Aweko Construction Limited, the contractor handling the Weja Agbawe Pediatric Hospital project, is threatening legal action against the Ministry of Health over claims it says are false and damaging. The company is demanding an immediate retraction of a statement by the ministry which allegedly blamed it for delays in operationalizing the facility. It further accuses it of procurement irregularities, including inflated prices of medical equipment. Lawyers for Aweko say the allegations are inaccurate, misleading, and unsupported by evidence. Christian Yali joins us in studio with details of that statement by the company. Yali, what more beyond the accusations being false does the contractor say?
In fact, Venice, when you check the letter, which is dated 8th May 2026 and addressed to the Honorable Minister of Health and copied to the spokesperson to the ministry, Tony Goodman, it also talks about issues about logistics and the need for proper training before a final handing over of the facility would be done. So I'll just walk you through excerpts of this letter written by lawyers of Aweko Company Limited. Now, a portion that the first address is a part of the statement earlier issued by the Health Ministry, which states that in 2024, the World Bank raised concerns about misprocurement, including inflated medical equipment costs up to about 11 times the actual price. Now, their response is that this allegation is unfounded and without any disclosed factual or evidential basis. Now, they go ahead to say that the purported concerns of the World Bank were never communicated to their client. Had this been done, the ministry would have relied on the client's expertise to explain and substantiate the price of the said equipment. Nevertheless, our client, the lawyers here, say that acting in good faith, they have, or the client has fulfilled its obligation under the contract and has delivered written correspondence requesting payment over a year now. Now, despite these repeated requests, the Ministry of Health has declined to respond to the correspondence or to offer any platform for discussion on the way forward. So that is one thing that they have written to the ministry on several occasions for over a year now. The ministry has not responded, but did not state that in their letter, which has been widely circulated. Alarmingly, this is the letter from the lawyers to the ministry. Alarmingly, this is not the first time the Ministry of Health has resorted to a press release to justify depriving our client of its just due under the lawful contract which the government of Ghana for the construction of the construction of the hospital. In December 2025, similar claims were made in the media, and our client, in the spirit of cooperation, responded to them in a private letter to you on 15. So a lot is said in this letter. In fact, they quote another aspect of the Ministry of Health letter, which says the Ministry of Health engaged relevant stakeholders and was prepared to commission the facility for use. However, the contractor subsequently halted this process, insisting that all outstanding issues be fully resolved before granting access to the hospital. Now, this is the response of the lawyers. The lawyers are saying that this assertion, again, is not only untrue, but materially misrepresents the correspondent exchange between their client and the ministry. Now, for clarity, they are saying that our client received a letter from the Ministry of Health dated 18th March 2026. In that letter, the ministry acknowledged receipt of their client's letter notifying completion of the construction works. The Ministry of Health also noted in the letter its intention of immediate occupation and operationalization of the end users, now ensuring that healthcare services are made available. Now, upon this receipt, the client, which is a Aweko company, wrote to the ministry outlining the contractual procedures required for the formal handover of the facility, including issues, Benis, relating to outstanding financial obligations. So here, lawyers to Aweko are also saying that the ministry or government by extension also owes Aweko, and so before any official handing over could be made, they need to settle the outstanding payment. A lot is said, but let me get to the bottom of this letter. And when you look at the paragraph 14 of it, they're saying that our client therefore finds your publication an attempt to divert public attention from the ministry's inaction and the real issues which have delayed the operationalization of the completed hospital. The inaccuracies and misrepresentations in your press release are just as disconcerting and baffling, and they have the tendency to damage our client's reputation and adversely affect its business. Now, your choice of medium to communicate crucial information about the hospital runs contrary to the cordial working relationship our client has sought to maintain with the ministry. In our direct response, our client hereby demands a retraction of your press release, in particular paragraphs 2 and 4, in the same manner it was published within 24 hours of receipt of this letter. So by tomorrow, this action should be taken by the health ministry. We are under strict instructions to pursue all legal remedies available to our client should you fail to comply. So there's a letter signed by one Yao Aqua, who is head of dispute resolution at Aweko Construction. Dennis.
Grateful, Christian Yale. And that was quite a lengthy one, but it's important to highlight the issues that the company cites and the responses they have to that. Thankfully, we have the spokesperson of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Tony Goodman. He issued the earlier statement that has elicited this response from Aweko. I'm grateful for your time this evening. Aweko is concerned that you have misrepresented, in their words, the facts and the experience as it occurred. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, good evening to you and our listeners. Yes, I don't actually, I can't even find a head and tail of this whole statement from them. They mentioned paragraph 2 and 4 of our press statement. I don't know whether what is in that document is factual or not. It's factual. Whatever we've stated in that document is factual. The issue of going round, discussing other issues, it's not the matter here. You have issued a statement claiming we should retract, and you pointed to paragraph 2 and 4. In the paragraph 2, we refer to the statement from the World Bank saying that there was some procurement and that the price of the equipment bought were between above the market prices. These are issues that are facts and they are out there. And there is a report from the World Bank also justifying this. So I don't know.
Was there any point at which a worker sought your audience for a meeting and you denied that?
It's always in our ministry, so I don't know which meeting we denied.
And so you insist that because the issue of inflation of some equipment of up to about 11 times was contained in a World Bank report, that cannot be, a responsibility that you must claim.
My sister, there was an issue. You had people who went in there to demonstrate. And there were issues from other commentators, including the MP of the area, stating that we have not come to commission the facility. As a ministry, what do? We need to inform Ghanaians about what the issues are. And that's what we have done. Put the issues out there for the people to see. So I don't know where we have actually bastardize the company.
But they actually say that this issue that the World Bank raises was never communicated to their client.
So if it's not communicated, it wasn't communicated to them. It's been communicated. It's been communicated. So we are saying that what we have put out there are the facts. Are they disputing the facts? Or they want us to retract what we have put out there, which is the fact? Which is the issue? Whether it's been communicated to you or not, fact still remains that there were issues regarding procurement, and the World Bank said they were not going to pay the 3.8. Is it true or not? Yes, it is true. So maybe they have to look at, I don't know which reason they have in writing all of this and saying that we should retract and all that, but I don't know. We, as an institution, we think that what we are doing, we brought the people up to speed on what is happening regarding that facility, and they have come. They've said that they've written several letters. So there are issues to be resolved. There are issues to be resolved.
Mr. Goodman, it's quite interesting that you say in previous engagements that the ministry has been trying to resolve this issue, the ones raised by the World Bank, trying to find a solution to it so that the hospital can be operationalized. It's just quite surprising that the contractor responsible for the project was never aware of the issues raised by the World Bank.
I would not even look at that area. What I would look at is the statement you just made. Is it true that the ministry engaged World Bank in relation to this matter? Yes. The World Bank is in Ghana because of this matter.
When did the ministry become aware of the issues raised by the World Bank, and why was same not communicated?
December, and we've had several discussions.
Why was it not communicated to?
And I'm saying that no, you are now only referring to their statements. I am saying that we've had several deliberations with them, including the contractor. I told you that this contractor is always in our ministry.
So you're saying that
he's met the minister, he's come to the ministry. So this issue that there were no correspondence from us and all that, these are issues just put together to justify the statement they have issued.
Mr.
By
Goodman,
the truth of the matter.
Just help me understand
the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that the press statement we issued, the fact in there are sacrosanct.
How did you communicate the concerns by the World Bank to the contractor responsible? Was it done in writing?
I said there are reports.
In a meeting?
There are several reports. There are reports. The minister even put in place a committee to look into this matter.
And the reports are in the possession of our worker?
Without listening to the contractors, without listening to anybody.
Right.
We've been there were several discussions, several communications. So please, I don't know where they woke up from and decided to write this statement, but I can tell you that what we put out there is the fact, and we still stand by it.
All right, it's been a couple of days since that demonstration on Tuesday. Just update us on what's been happening since then.
So yes, they should tell you that all the demonstrations you saw, all the things you saw, were orchestrated by these people. All the things you saw, that people go into a facility that is not even been handed over to a ministry, was open for individuals to enter, to take videos, take pictures, and circulate. It tells you that it was just a calculated attempt to smear people. But look at this. A hospital that is going through negotiations to make sure that it's open. You had people walking in there, taking videos. So if you see some statements like this, it should tell you that these are the reasons why that actually happened. But I can tell you, as I said, our aim is to make sure that we get this facility run for the people of this country. And that is what we are doing.
Right. As it stands
now. We are in Oti. The Honorable Minister came to Oti to launch the regional version of the free primary health care here in Oti. And with today, equipment, lots of equipment have come to the region for the distribution of the people. We've taken the chiefs around. Tomorrow is a town hall meeting for us to see the beginning of a free primary health care in this region. I have not even had time to even go through this statement because we will not be derailed by some of those things.
So
we will not be.
This is a letter that has been written to your ministry, and you say that you have not cited it?
That is what I'm saying, that for us, what is important is the work, to make sure that the health care delivery that has retrograded over a period, we make sure that we move it forward.
So when are
we
you
make
going
sure
to
that
meet?
the people,
When are you going to meet our
the 43 to 45% of Ghanaians who are dying because non-communicable is on the rise, because people at various communities need free primary health care. That is what we are interested in. Those things are just calculated attempts to redivert
So
our
we
attention.
understand that once the contractor is not satisfied, there still is a problem to be resolved. Briefly, how do you hope to resolve this issue with Aweko?
We have been having discussions with stakeholders. I told you that this week we've met the World Bank. They've made a lot of propositions to us. We are looking at how to resolve this thing and make sure that the people go in there. I have said that for us, we want to run this facility by the end of this month. That is our aim.
Right, but you haven't met Aweko yet.
We haven't spoken to
the contractor responsible yet.
Maybe you are still sticking to. I said the contractor is always in the ministry.
But
the contractor
always being in the ministry.
If we are going to operate,
if you are going to engaged in a meeting with you.
No, hold on. If you are going to operate this facility, and we are not talking to the contractor, who is handing over the facility to us?
I just need you to confirm that in simple terms that you have spoken and engaged.
And I'm telling you that we have various discussions with the contractor.
Right.
This in the ministry. What is he doing in the ministry? It's because we have meetings with him.
Grateful for your time this evening, Mr. Tony Goodman speaks for the Health Ministry, responding to concerns by Aweko Construction Limited, the contractors responsible for the Wager Pediatric Hospital. And earlier this week, there was a demonstration by residents and the MP for the area demanding the operationalization of that facility. We'll be keeping our eyes and monitoring this particular situation and furnish you with the details. Away from that, all manganese loading and discharge operations at the Takoradi Port Anchorage have been temporarily suspended pending investigations into the circumstances surrounding a fatal loading incident last Saturday. Search and recovery operations are currently underway for a second Chinese national, Jia Yangmin, while the body of the first victim, identified as 48-year-old Zhang Honghui, has been retrieved and deposited at a mortuary at Fonko. Joining me on the line is Director General Special Duties, the Ghana Police Service, DCOP, Mr. Raymond Ali Adofiem, to understand where they are currently with this search for the other victim who was involved in this fatal incident on Saturday. We understand that he has some details for us. Grateful for your time, DCOP. Do we understand through initial assessment what may have caused this accident?
Okay. So, joint investigation indicated that they were working on the crane, but the rough conditions of the sea made the crane hit the engine room. You know, the strong waves on the sea hit the engine room, the control room, and it blocked into the water, trapping the two. So by joint efforts of the EPHA, underwater contractors, that is a private organization that dives to support in the rescue, and the Ghana Police Service Marine, since up to yesterday 7, they were able to rescue one.
Sorry, did you say you were able to rescue or retrieve? Was the person alive or dead?
They've been able to retrieve one body.
Right. Okay.
They retrieved one body. The other one is still missing. And they are making efforts to see whether they will be able to recover that one too.
Right. So as we speak, rescue efforts are still underway.
Yes.
Beyond the actual incident, tell us how this has affected operations at the port and what's being done to ensure security while the rescue efforts go on.
So this is joint efforts, and they've sent word around. They've been able to engage others working along that terrain to ensure safety of all persons there. So I think public confidence around that area rebel because of the joint effort that they've seen the state putting in to get this situation resolved.
Grateful for your time this evening. That's Director General Special Duties at the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Raymond Ali Adofiem, giving us details of that rather unfortunate incident. But colleague Irama Smith has put together this report on what exactly transpired.
Information available to TV3 News indicates the two Chinese nationals were on board operations at the anchorage on Saturday, May 2, supervising the loading of manganese ore onto their Chinese bulk carrier MV Sinhai Tong 902 when the incident occurred. Preliminary reports, according to the Marine Police, suggest that a loaded grab bucket attached to the ship loading crane struck the crane's operator cabin, commonly referred to in port operations as the control cabin. The impact caused the cabin to shed off from the crane structure and plunge into the sea with the two operators trapped inside. Since the incident, a coordinated search and recovery operation has been undertaken by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Marine Unit of the Ghana Police Service, and private subsea recovery specialist, Underwater Contractors Ghana Limited. On Wednesday, the recovery team led by Chief Inspector Henry Indede Mensah, together with personnel from Underwater Contractors Ghana Limited, successfully retrieved the body of Zhang Hongqi from the submerged control cabin at the Takoradi anchorage. The deceased was reportedly trapped inside the mangled cabin structure, which had settled on the seabed at a depth of about 27 meters. Recovery personnel were compelled to deploy specialized cutting equipment to gain access to the compartment and extract the decomposing body. The remains have since been deposited at the Eternity Funeral Home at Funko and is expected to be transferred subsequently to the police hospital mortuary for autopsy and further forensic procedures. Meanwhile, marine search operations remain active in effort to locate the second victim, Jia Yamin. Alerts have also been circulated to coastal fishing communities and landing beaches along the western coastline to notify the Marine Police of anybody washed ashore. Following the incident, all manganese loading and discharge operations at the Takoradi Port anchorage have been temporarily suspended pending investigations into the circumstances surrounding the accident.
Irama Smith with that report, and away from that, let's do some politics now. The New Patriotic Party, acting through its National Executive Committee and National Council, has constituted various standing and sector committees of the party. This decision was taken at a meeting of the National Executive Committee and National Council on Thursday, 7th May 2026. A statement issued by General Secretary Justin Kodia-Frimpong says the composition of the standing and sector committees forms part of the party's ongoing efforts to strengthen its internal structures, deepen policy development, enhance stakeholder engagement, and reposition the party for effective political organization and national governance. My colleague Wisdom Safo of our research desk joins us with more on this. Wisdom, run us through the compositions and persons worth noting.
Beatrice, Venice, if you look through the committees, you realize that there are 7 standing committees and 23 sector committees. And you have to take note that this is one of the major committee setups after the selection of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia as the flag bearer of the NPP. So I'll run you through some of the key committees and the standing committees that we have. So we have the Finance Committee, and on the Finance Committee, the chair there is Fred Owari. Fred Owari is chairing the Finance Committee. We have Dr. Charles Dramina as the secretary as well. It has 11 members. We move on to the Electoral Affairs Committee. That's part of the standing committee, the 7th standing committee. And I have to take you have to take note that the Electoral Affairs Committee has the most members, a total of 16 people on the Electoral Affairs Committee. For the Electoral Affairs Committee, the chairman is Honorable Ben Boachi Amwa. The secretary is Honorable Insimao, and Peter Bakmenu also there. But there are certain committees that I have to also mention have to do with the policy committee that's chaired by Honorable Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, the MP for Irebi, and we have the organizational committee, Honorable Anthony Abaifia Cabo, that's the chairman. We have the research committee and the communication committee. But there are certain things that runs through, and there are some key names that were missing. We realized that Kennedy Japan was not part of the standing committees. He was given employment and jobs committee as a subsector committee out of the 23 subsectors. He was part of the employment committee. So people were asking questions. Is there a deliberate attempt not to include him in the main committee, which is the standing committee, and his exclusion from the electoral affairs committee? But there's one thing also running through that to do with Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah. I realized that Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah was part of the major committees, which are the communication committee and the policy committee. So is that a signaling? Are we trying to project Oppong-Nkrumah as MPP try to signal us that one day Oppong-Nkrumah will hold a very big position? Because these are key standing committees, right, as part of their setup. Yeah.
Right, so that's a Wisdom Safo of our research desk, just giving us a breakdown of these committees and members who constitute it. We've been joined by Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Grateful for your time, Mr. Mohammed. Let's just start off on the note about Mr. Kennedy Japon's role and really concerns about he not being given a standing committee. Are those concerns valid? Do you consider them valid?
I can't hear you. It looks like the voice is down.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes.
Right. Grateful for your time once again. I was just briefly asking, there are concerns about the roping in of former flag bearer aspirants, particularly focusing on Mr. Kennedy Japong and his role in the committees. And the question is, why wasn't he giving a substantive committee? Why is he in a subcommittee?
Thank you very much. I think that the understanding of the work of the party is something that is very important to all of us. We have standing committees of the party, and these standing committees were set up in 2022 after the national officers had taken over the reins after the national elections. Then fast forward, we had a national delegates conference where we amended our party constitution and introduced new committees to assist the National Council, which are standing committees of the National Council. Then the other leg of the committees that you have seen is the sector committee, not subcommittees. They are sector committees. Sector committees looks at various aspects of knowledge of those individuals, how they will be able to use their knowledge to contribute to policy in terms of the direction of the party. So where you have seen Honorable Kennedy or Ina Japan, Brian Achampon, and the rest, they have been put in a sector committee where their expert knowledge is required, and they have been appointed as members of the party, not because they contested as flag bearer aspirants. It's just the fact that they contested, but the expertise of these individuals are needed as a party, and that is why the party is calling upon them to serve in those particular capacities. So the point must be made very clear. It is not a subcommittee, it's a sector committee, not subcommittees. And sector committees are a very foundation also in the party's constitution, which is also founded on the standing committees. So these are standalone committees on their own that has been established in the party's constitution, and the expert knowledge and advice of these persons are sought in those particular committees.
Grateful for the clarification, but let's focus on the end game. What's the goal? Your General Secretary mentions strengthening structures. What gaps are you trying to fill?
I can hear Mendeling.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm talking about the end game of these committees and the internal structures you're trying to strengthen ahead of the 2028 elections. Just run us through the problems you identified and the gaps you're trying to fill by constituting these committees and sector and standing committees.
Well, we explained when we had our National Annual Delegates Conference in Accra, and that is the Legon Sports Stadium. We did amended parts of our party's constitution, and we added some committees to the party, and we also separated the research and elections on their own. We know that on the merit of elections, research and election officers are supposed to stand alone. We had predefined some of these particular committees, and we indicated clearly, and it was very resounding from the delegates in that particular conference, that we needed to establish some additional committees which is going to support the party in going forward. You can see that we have security and intelligence, which hitherto was not part of the committees, but was an ad hoc committee within the party. Security is very important when it comes to elections. With the manner that the NDC had misbehaved in the elections or the aftermath of the elections, we needed to take very strong measures that is grounded in the party's constitution. Also, you see that we have policy and strategy, and these are two separate committees that has also been put. Strategy was treated as a directorate, but strategy has been given a forefront of having a committee that is headed by certain experts. Policy is something that was also treated as a directorate, and all of these are stand-alone committees within the party. Everybody knows that you win election with a strategy, and you also win election with policy. So these are matters that are very paramount and very important in going forward. What this will add is that it is going to help in fine-tuning most of the policies and decisions that we are taking. You also have versed your mind that we had our flag bearer on the 31st of January, and we need a policy direction for the flag bearer to move on. And for us to be able to shape in that, we try as much as possible to align to what the parliamentary standard has been, and that is why you have seen co-chair. So if you see all the ranking members in parliament who are ranking members or ranking to the ranking to the majority, being chairpersons or co-chair to those that the party has also appointed to.
Right.
We want to have a formidable one front where we are able to speak with one voice. And in terms of what happens in parliament and what happens within the party, we are able to relate very well in terms of unity. So these are matters that is going to be considered, and these committees are going to help shape the policy direction of the flag bearer, who will be using these particular committees as and when he needs to be able to shape a particular policy direction.
Briefly, I'd like for you to tell us what the timelines for these committees are. How long do they have to do their work? And will their work include going beyond having sit-ins, engaging the party grassroots?
These committees are not set up with particular timelines. Like I said, this is a constitutional provision that is founded in the party's constitution. And even officers of the party has a timeline of 4 years. As of when the National Council sets to revise or appoint or even dissolve, that is where the National Council decides. So there is no timeline given to this particular constitution. These committees that have been constituted by the National Council, their work can be in perpetuity if they have not been changed. So it is at the beck and call of the National Council who decide whether to revise or to adopt or to maintain these standing committees of the House.
Grateful for your time this evening, and you just heard Haruna Mohammed. He's Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, explaining to us why these committees were created in the first place and the expectation of the party as the committees begin work ahead of the 2028 elections. Now, the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE, will largely conclude today, except for candidates writing Arabic, which is expected to be taking on Monday, May 11, a total of 619,985 final year junior high school students across Ghana have been sitting for the examination. In addition, 156 candidates from Togo and Benin joined the examination, bringing the overall number of candidates to 620,141. According to WAEC, candidates from 20,395 schools wrote the exams at 2,302 centers nationwide. We've been joined by WAEC's Public Affairs man, John Kapi. Grateful for your time. What's your overall assessment of this year's BEC, sir?
Good evening, and thanks for having me. I would say that we've had quite a successful exercise because we've been able to reach every single candidate across the country. Materials, everything was available for every single candidate who registered for the examination. Of course, there were a few lapses here and there which we would look at going forward in order that we can perfect the examination process.
Well, we had some 7 teachers arrested for some malpractices and infractions. Does the number still stand at 7? Have there been more figured out?
We're almost hitting 30.
30 teachers?
Yes, 30 teachers. These are mainly supervisors, invigilators, and then some other teachers who were not actively involved with the conduct of the examination but made attempts to assist the candidates in the examination hall.
Interesting. So, as we speak, we understand that this is an illegality. We all know that. So, at what process are we at with getting them punished for these alleged offenses?
Well, on our part, we would usually report them to the police because as far as our rules are concerned, anybody who has any form of the question outside the examination hall, be it on a piece of paper or in a retrieval gadget, it goes against the rule, and so they will be handed over to the police, and then the WAEC law will be used to judge them, and they'll be charged accordingly.
Talking about more practices, there have been concerns about how some students who were found with unprescribed material suspected to aid them in the examination were treated, were exposed. Some raised concerns about their vulnerabilities and all. Has that come to your attention, and what are you doing about that?
Well, in terms of the way they are handled, we have rules that govern the way these young ones are handled. What we do is that once you find out that they have something on them, just so that we have evidence to prove that they were the ones involved in that kind of thing, you take a statement from them and then you allow them to continue to write the examination. So if there was any form of high-handedness anywhere, once the reports reach us, the people responsible will be put to order.
We've been engaging some parents and candidates who've raised concerns about the scheduling and the timing of some of these papers. Has that also come to your attention? Is it something you're considering looking at?
Well, I've seen and heard about this in the media. Nothing formal has come to us as a council. But these are things that can be looked at.
When you say nothing formal, is it that you expect that if parents or candidates have concerns, they put it in writing? Is that the expectation of WAEC?
Not necessarily petitioning WAEC per se, because WAEC as a body does not take unilateral decisions when it comes to examinations. We work with the Ghana Education Service and especially with the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. They are the ones who are the think tank wing of GES, if you want. And so when it comes to assessment, we work closely with them. So whatever decision that has been taken regarding the number of subjects, regarding how many they write per day, all of this was done together with them. So if there's going to be any review, this same body should sit down, take a look at it, and then decide, which way to go, considering the templates that we have received so far.
Yeah, I'm only asking because I know that there are many parents and guardians who are listening who may want to formalize the petition so they know who to address it to. So you say what, NACA and GES are the right outfits or agencies?
Absolutely, yes. GES and then NACA, yes.
And why are we writing the exam in 6 days this time?
Well, it's always been 2 subjects a day since the onset of the BEC. The 6th day comes in because of the additional subject, that is Arabic, which will be written on Monday. So we can't have them write more than 2 papers a day. That is the reason the 11th subject will be written on Monday morning.
Well, I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Kapi, and we wish you all the best, even as you round up the BUC. You just had the Public Relations or Public Affairs Director of WAEC, Mr. Kapi, explaining to us the decision to write the exams for 6 days, also focusing on concerns of vulnerabilities of young people who are found with some foreign material or found to be engaging in more practices during the examination. Thank you for joining us. You can keep your comments coming on Facebook and YouTube. And this is Hot Edition live on 3FM 92.7. I'm Bernice Abubaidulans. I will be bringing you business news shortly. Do stay.
Hisense is best known for all
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also coming up tonight, Government of Ghana seeks to break 7th straight under-subscription streak with 4.349 billion cedis treasury bill auction today. This story and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Government is returning to the domestic money market today with a target to borrow 4.349 billion cedis through its weekly treasury bill auction. There is more in the following 3 business news this report.
The move comes at a critical point for the Treasury, which is battling a persistent slump in investor demand. This upcoming auction, targeting 4.349 billion cedis, marks an attempt to snap a 7-week streak of undersubscription, a trend that has raised concerns over government's ability to meet its short-term financing needs. Tenors to be offered are the 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day bills. Analysts suggest the recent fatigue in the T-bill market may be driven by a tightening of available cedi liquidity within the banking sector. A gradual decline in the Ghana reference rate GRR, which dipped to 10.03% this month, potentially signaling to investors that yields may have peaked. Renewed interest in other assets classes as a broader macroeconomic environment shows sign of slow stabilization. The Bank of Ghana remains hopeful that the 4.394 billion cedis target, designed to roll over maturing debt and fund government operations, will find sufficient takers. However, if the trend of undersubscription continues into an 8th week, the government may be forced to further raise interest rates to entice worry investors, potentially increasing the overall cost of public debt.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on government seeking to break undersubscription streak with 4.349 billion cedis T-bill auction. Moving on, a new policy analysis by the Center for Economic Research and Policy Analysis, CEPA, says the Bank of Ghana's aggressive efforts to tame inflation and stabilize the cedi are significantly worsening the central bank's financial position. According to the think tank, high interest rates, expensive liquidity control measures, and exchange rate pressures are driving mounting operational losses, raising concerns over the long-term sustainability of the bank's balance sheet. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report. In its latest policy brief, the think tank says the Bank of Ghana's reliance on tight monetary policy tools, including high interest rates, open market operations, and central bank bills, has significantly increased operational losses. CEPA explains that efforts to absorb excess liquidity from the financial system have become more expensive under the current high interest rate environment, placing additional strain on the bank's finances. The report also points to the depreciation of the cedi as a major contributor to the losses, noting that the weakening local currency increases the domestic value of the Bank of Ghana's foreign liabilities, resulting in revaluation losses. CEPA says, although the measures are necessary to control inflation and restore economic confidence, they present a difficult trade-off between macroeconomic stability and the financial health of the central bank. The think tank is further raising concerns about quasi-fiscal interventions such as the Gold for Oil and Gold for Reserves programs, arguing that such initiatives fall outside the bank's core mandate. CEPA is therefore calling for a policy rethink and urging government to gradually take over non-core interventions, while the Bank of Ghana focuses primarily on price stability. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, government's procurement of 300 diesel-powered buses to boost public transport has drawn sharp criticism from climate advocates who say the decision contradicts Ghana's own green transition commitments. The first 100 of the buses arrived in April, with further deliveries expected in August and November as part of efforts to ease congestion and improve access to reliable transport in major cities, including Accra.
The government procured 300 diesel buses to tackle growing pressure on the country's public transport network. The first 100 arrived in April, with further deliveries expected in August and November. The buses were meant to ease chronic congestion and long waiting times in cities like Accra, where commuters have long struggled to access reliable transport. But the relief was short-lived. When it emerged the buses ran on internal combustion engines, the initial public welcome quickly gave way to concern among environmentalists and climate watchers. Ghana is a signatory to the Paris Agreement and has committed under its nationally determined contributions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 64 million tons by 2030, with transport identified as one of the key sectors where cleaner alternatives must be prioritized. Critics say the latest procurement moves in the opposite direction.
Introducing 300 diesel buses into the space of Accra, where we know transport emissions are high, I think it's it feels like a lost opportunity, and I don't think that is the angle that we need to go.
Country lead for Clean Air Fund, Desmond Appiah, argues that government's action must align with its own climate sustainability policies and calls for a mandatory quota of climate-smart vehicles in all government automobile procurement. His organization is now demanding that at least 20% of all vehicles purchased by government over the next 3 years be electric.
After 2030, we want to get to maybe 35% or 40% over time. Then, of course, every procurement officer knows this is government's goal, and then we'll be moving towards that. But without being firm, we just seem to have made a broad, general commitment without the specifics.
And that report brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, for more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Bill Ishan is here for sports news. Please stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Ishen. We'll start off from the Senior African Athletics Championships. Now, Ghana has stepped up preparations for the competition, that is the Senior African Athletics Championship, scheduled for the University of Ghana Sports Stadium from May 12th to May 17th, 2026. Ghana, expected to be made up over 30 athletes, will take on some of the best athletes on the continent in the 24th edition on Ghanaian soil. Earlier on Friday, Ghana's fastest man, Abdul Rashid Saminu, went through the paces alongside highly rated senior high school sprinter Portia Nkrumah and high jumper Esther. Other athletes from the available 54 countries are expected to arrive during the weekend to battle for laurels. Here are reactions from some athletes for Team Ghana.
I'm so excited. I didn't expect it, but by the grace of God, they added me to it. So I'm so excited. And I'm coming to reduce my time to run better time here.
I was very excited because coming for a national competition and representing Ghana makes me very happy. So I was very excited when I realized I was part of the team. I'm very prepared for it. I've been training for a while now, and then I'm very ready to meet anything that comes my way.
Those were reactions from some athletes for Team Ghana ahead of the 2026 African Senior Athletics Championship. Now, in a bold demonstration of corporate patriotism and strategic nation building, Stanbic Bank Ghana has unveiled a landmark commitment of 3 million Ghana cedis to propel the Black Stars on the ambitious journey toward the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The high-profile pledge was formally presented to the World Cup 2026 fundraising committee during a ceremonial engagement at the newly inaugurated Ministry of Finance on Thursday, underscoring a growing alliance between the private sector and national sporting aspirations. Let's now hear from Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyarko Ampem, who is pleased with the support.
To support the Black Stars participation in the 2026 World Cup campaign, we have received 250,000 Ghana cedis from Omnibus Bank, and we have also received an amount of $500,000 from Newmont, Ghana, and we just received 3 million Ghana cedis from Stanbic Bank. So we are grateful that you have responded. As we said, every Thursday we'll be here to receive donations. And we already have signals that a number of other banks are also coming and some other institutions. And so on behalf of the committee, we want to thank you sincerely for responding to the national call.
That was the Deputy Finance Minister speaking there. Now, the Black Stars have also received a huge financial injection ahead of the 2026 World Cup from Goldfields, Ghana. Now, together with two other national teams and the Ghana Women's League, the contract, which is worth $5 million, is valid for 2 years. There's more in the following report.
On Friday, Goldfields Ghana Limited announced a sponsorship agreement worth $5 million over a 2-year period with the Ghana Football Association, becoming an official partner of the GFA. The strategic partnership reinforces its long-standing commitment to football development in the country. The sponsorship is expected to cater for the Black Stars, the Black Queens, Black Challenge, as well as the Ghana Women Football League. Speaking at the event, GFA President Keto Kweko expressed his gratitude while stating the aspirations of the Black Stars at the 2026 World Cup.
As a leader of the football family, and how grateful we are as a football family to Goldfields Ghana for coming on board as our official partners. Very soon, our Black Stars will be coming out of the tunnel to represent our country during the Mondial in the US and in Canada and in Mexico. These resources will help us to adequately prepare the team, and we are very, very positive about the team putting up one of the best performances ever in the history of the Ghanaian game.
Meanwhile, Managing Director of Goldfields Ghana, Elliot Chum, highlighted a lack of support for the Women's League in Ghana as one of the reasons for embarking on this journey.
I think Goldfields has had a tradition of supporting sports development in this country, and we've done this for the past 20 years where we've invested almost $8 million in people, in teams, and infrastructure. We are giving some support to the National Women's League, which we think has been deprived of funding for a very long time. And they have demonstrated over time that if we can support the National Women's League, we will be able to do wonderful things in women's football across the globe.
The landmark partnership represents one of the most significant corporate investments into Ghana football in recent years and is expected to strengthen the country's football ecosystem.
That was a report by my colleague Andrew Sefa-Banfo. Before I do go, the Black Starlets will take on Mali's Under-17 in their final international friendly match ahead of the 2026 Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The encounter is scheduled to be played on Saturday in Mohammedia, where both teams are currently camping as part of their preparations for the continental tournament. Kickoff is set for 4 p.m. GMT. The match will provide the Black Starlets with one final opportunity to fine-tune their tactics, assess player fitness, and sharpen their readiness before the commencement of the competition. The Starlets have already played 2 preparatory matches against the Young Elephants during a training tour in Ivory Coast. They suffered a defeat in the first meeting but bounced back with an emphatic 4-0 win in the second meeting. That's it for the sports segment here on 3FM Hot Edition, and that's it also for the 3FM Hot Edition for Friday. Of course, we'll be back same time next week on Monday with more updates. But until then, have a great week.